Friends, it's been a long time since I've made like one of these smaller videos. I've been super busy with my podcast and with my daily live stream, but today I felt compelled to share with you basically a challenge, and it's a twofold challenge. It's a challenge in the midst of these trying and difficult times. Like you, I've seen the news, I've seen the threats that are coming against the church now. People want to tear down pictures of Jesus. They want to take down anything where Jesus is depicted in a way that they don't appreciate. And here's what I want to say about that. We have to stand up, friends. We can't allow this culture to destroy us. But what we have to recognize is this. The answer isn't in fighting against the world in the way that the world fights. The answer is taking up the weapons of our faith in the way that Christ has called us to do so. So like I said, I've got a challenge. I've got a challenge for our bishops, because let's be real, friends. They're kind of taking it on the chin right now, aren't they? I mean, all over the place, you see how bishops are trying to respond to the pandemic, and they're trying to respond to all of the rioting and the protests and all these different things. And they're trying to thread this needle of saying, look, how do we, as Catholics, lead the church in this world that is so bitter and divided? How do we communicate both the love of and grace of God to everybody, but yet at the same time stand against the evil ideology that seems to be taking over our society at a rapid pace? How do we do both? It's crazy. So like what you find is some people are like, all right, I'm grabbing my AR-15 and my shotgun and I'm gonna go stand in front of my church and nobody better mess with it. So we have that side of the equation, right? And then we have the other side. People are just going, well, maybe we should think about doing that. You know, I have people I follow on Facebook or whatever, and one person in particular I'm thinking of is a Protestant pastor, and he actually posted that, yes, it is time for all of the depictions of Jesus to be taken down. Not because he's like some anti-Catholic person who's afraid of idolatry. He just wants to capitulate to the crew that's saying, look, if you've got a picture of Jesus and he's not the racial whatever thing that we think he should be, then we got to go. And this guy's actually going, yeah, we should do that. So you got on one side the guys with their guns saying, nobody's coming into my church. And then on the other side, you got people who are just going laying down saying, yeah, just do whatever. It's pretty tough to try to figure out how to thread that needle, isn't it? But here's what I'm going to ask of my bishops. Now, do I have the right to ask anything of a bishop? Probably not. I'm just a dude who was a Protestant that became a Catholic a few years ago. I have a small YouTube channel and a ministry. I'm sure they don't pay attention to guys like me. But if they would, here's what I would ask of my bishop, because here's the thing. This is just from me, okay? I'm struggling with it because I'm trying to live out this Catholic faith that I sacrificed and gave up stuff for in my life to walk into. I'm trying to live it out boldly and mightily. But yet sometimes what I see is a lack of that in those who are supposed to be leading the charge. And I know that it's not an easy thing to do. And my heart is not to throw rocks or to criticize or to be like, oh, you bishops are terrible people. But I just want to share with you like what I feel like your flock needs. And here's what we need. We need you to be visibly fearless of what happens to you if you stand against the evil ideology of this world. We need you not to care so much about pleasing the media or pleasing people who have a problem. We need you to stop caring about those who can kill the body. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I think this kind of comes from the Bible, right? Matthew 28, Jesus says, do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. That's God. He's your boss. What we need is for you guys to stand up against this world that is evil and hates God and not fear what can happen to you. I mean, isn't that why you became a bishop in the first place? Because you love the flock of God, because you want to stand for the truth of the gospel and take care of God's church? And look at what you've given up. You've given up family and marriage and all of these things. You've given up worldly possessions, supposedly, and comfort in this life. You've laid your life down for the sheep. So yet why does it seem so rare to see a bishop standing up against the evil in this society? Because here's what I've come to learn in my short time as a Catholic. This world is not ever going to say, yeah, you know what, we're cool with the Catholic faith right now. No matter what you do, you could tear down every statue, you could tear down every stained glass window, you could make every statement, you could say to them literally, tell us what you want us to do. You could do it, and guess what, friend? They're still going to hate you. Because the system of this world belongs to the devil, and it's evil, and it hates God. So it's especially hateful of what? The Catholic faith. See, the world doesn't care about all these liberal Protestants that are out trying to be like, oh, whatever you say, we're going to do with, doing all the things that they're like. All of this pandering is pointless. And I used to get bent out of shape about this all the time when I was a pastor, but all these liberal Protestants who want to and I guess liberal Catholics too, who want to cave into the pressures of this world and basically say, hey, we're just like you. You think that somehow you're earning points with the world and that eventually they're going to accept you. You don't realize that, number one, they'll never accept you unless you completely disregard your faith, which unfortunately some are doing. And number two, you don't want them to, because your job is not to be friends with the world. I mean, doesn't the Bible say friendship with the world is hatred toward God? Now, does that mean that we're supposed to be like that guy with the guns going, all right, don't mess with my church? No, of course not. But what we need to recognize is how we are to lead and fight through this. So we need you to be bold. We need you to stand strong. We need you to be faithful. We need you to protect us. We need you to be more worried about your flock losing their souls than you are about losing credibility with the media or with this secular culture that hates God. It should be the last thing on your mind. So we need leadership, because ultimately, you want to know? I'll tell you what I need. I need to be inspired. And I want to be inspired so badly. I want to be able to look at our leaders and our bishop and be like, wow, these are people who have laid it all on the line, who are standing right in the thick of it and are staring down the enemy. And they're not afraid. Dude, sign me up for that. If you're going to be that way and you got a team, I want to be on it. If you're that way and you need a guy, I want to be your guy. But where is it? Now, I have a great priest. He's an awesome guy. But you know what? He's a priest in a church. He doesn't have authority over a bunch of churches. He's not like a media figure. He's not like standing up and the world is listening to him like some of our well-known bishops are. We need to be inspired. Think about that. We need to be inspired. Stop trying to inspire them and start trying to inspire us. Now, does that make me selfish? I hope not. I hope not. Okay, so don't fear men, fear God. That's my challenge to our bishops. And I love you and I pray for you. And my desire is not to come against you, but to give you a picture, because sometimes I think it can be so easy for our bishops to get lost in their role in their world that they sometimes can lose touch with what regular people like you and me, what we need. The lowest of the low, right? The sheep. What do we need? For many of us, we just come through this pandemic. We're scared. We've been deprived of our sacraments. We've diligently and faithfully obeyed whatever you've told us we had to do in order to be there. Now we need you to stand up for us and lead us and inspire us. That's what we need. Now, what about our lay people? What about the rest of us? What do we need? Here's my challenge to all lay Catholics. It's this: stand strong no matter what. Stand strong no matter what. The same thing that's true for them needs to be true for us. We can't live our lives in fear of not having the world's approval or of even having the world's disapproval. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard when people say things like, look, if you do this, we're coming after your business, or we're going to find out where you live, or we're going to vandalize your property, or we're going to attack you. I know that's difficult. And there is a time and a place where we got to stand up and say, bring it. I'm not going to bow down in fear over what you're going to do to me, because my life is not my own. I belong to Christ. So we got to stand strong too. We're not supposed to cower down and wait to be told what to do, right? We need to live our faith boldly and mightily, and we need to fight for our faith. But what we have to remember, friends, is what is the weapon of our faith? It's not the same as the world's. It's not, well, they did a nasty post, so we're going to do a nasty post, or they said something mean, so we're going to say something mean. No. The Bible tells us that we are to overcome evil, not with evil, but rather with good. We're to respond to acts of evil with love. We're to love our enemies. Friends, we've never had an easier time to put that into practice than we do right now when people are coming against us. And they are, because they hate us. But we have to not respond with hatred back. We got to respond with love. That's a weapon, isn't it? Secondly, we got to be faithful in prayer. You know, one of the things I've been doing since this pandemic started is doing a live stream rosary every single day at 5 o'clock Central. Started on March 18th. We've been doing it every single day. And yeah, it's a big time commitment, and it's been a thing, but it's been amazing to see people from almost 40 different countries joining in every single day to pray the rosary, because we believe that this is a weapon, right? I'm a convert. I just found this a few years ago, and I love it. It's amazing. I've seen the power of it in my life, and I'm taking it for what it is, a weapon against evil. So, friend, are you praying every single day? Do you pray more than you post? Do you pray more than you tweet? Do you pray more than you complain about what's going on? Friends, you got to do it. You got to do it. And lastly, you've got to be willing to keep in mind that no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. Now, I know that might sound like this little oh, it's going to be okay. But seriously, let me tell you something. I am so proud and so happy and grateful to be a Catholic. It's not even funny, especially in this big mess. Because here's the deal. I don't put my trust and faith in other human beings. I put my faith and trust in Jesus Christ. And He has promised that His church will not be destroyed by even the gates of hell, but will stand against it. Right? That there's nothing that can take down Jesus' church. I'm so thankful and happy to be a part of that. And I don't have to be in fear that the forces of evil are going to win. I don't have to sit back in fear and go, well, what if they destroy the Catholic Church? Not going to happen. Not because I got some awesome bishop or something like that, but rather because Jesus Christ gave the church His promise, and His Spirit illuminates it and lives within it. So don't back out of your Catholic faith. Run into it. Where else are you going to go? You know, I remember when I was a Protestant, fearful every day that something was going to destroy our church, because at any moment it seemed like it was going to happen. We were capitulating so much to the world, it was ridiculous. And it wouldn't surprise me if the denomination I serve doesn't exist in a year, okay? Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. And you know what? Here's the deal. I don't have that same fear anymore, because now I'm Catholic. And I know no matter what happens, I'm going to stick close to Christ and His church. And it might appear as if the sky is falling. It might appear as if we don't know what we're doing. But I tell you what, God knows what He's doing. And when He's given us His promise, we can trust it. We can stand firm. So friends, stand firm in your Catholic faith. Stand firm in holiness. Stand firm in love. When someone attacks you, love them. When someone hurts you, give them mercy. Be a force of peace in this world. Be a force of love. Recognize this, friends. A lot of people are hurting right now. People are raging out because they're hurting. And you might not agree with all of their politics, but you have to. You have to respect that when someone's deep in pain and hurt, even if you don't agree with them, that your job as a believer is to go to them and share the love of Christ with them. Powerful things can happen when we do that. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid. Jesus Christ has promised He'll get us through this. Remember what the early martyrs did. They stayed the course. They hung in there. And look what happened. The world was changed by the church. If only we would follow in their example, just maybe God's setting up to do the same exact thing. Wouldn't that be amazing? God bless each and every one of you guys. Take care.